you trying to get crazy with this scene? Don't you know I'm loco?
I don't know where my license to ill is. I don't know what happened to it. I'm so mad about that. And they gave me it just because I was like their goofy friend. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I have De La. First De La's on my wall. 3 Feet High and Rising. I have Old Dirty Bastard.
You signed them?
I was their A&R guy. Monica Lynch signed them. But I've worked on the record really closely with them. I have, which one's up? I have my 8 Mile plaque is up. And that's like 6 times platinum.
What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, a.k.a. Bobby Tribal. And once again, it's time for...
That's my cue, right?
That's
the
it.
Lower Left Podcast.
We're kind of on a roll, huh?
Yeah, this is the second one in this week, but it's been like 2-3 months since we started.
So we're on episode, I think we've got like 53 recorded.
Yeah.
But it's taken us a long time.
It's because we're old now.
We're just
I'm over the hill now.
You know what?
So.
I'll tell you, we're busy, and I'm proud to say that the ones that we do are significant.
Yeah,
like,
most definitely.
We try to do interesting ones with interesting people and shit like that. So, but yeah, man, we're doing it again. But
how'd you like the show? So we did the last one on Tuesday, the day of the Cypress Hill show.
Yeah.
Here at the Rady Shell.
I'm so mad I missed that.
That was a good one, bro.
What the fucking symphony, man.
It was amazing. I'll show you videos and stuff.
Man, my homegirl hit me, son, and she was like, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It was beautiful. They have to record it. That's what I was talking to B. I talked to all of them afterwards, tell them the same thing. You guys need to record something like that. It's a beautiful Sunday morning album. That's what I kept hearing in my head. Like a symphony with Cypress, just some Sunday morning shit.
I literally hit B about it yesterday, and I was like, my homegirl went. She said it was so dope. He was like, yeah, man, it was incredible. He was hitting me back, and I was like, man, I got to see it. When's it coming to LA? He said next year.
Yeah, they were in suits. All 4 of them were in suits.
Oh, wow.
And then, played with them too is Money Mark.
Oh, yeah, he's playing keyboards.
Mark played with them.
I saw him last
and Mario C was there. I had never met him.
He's a cool cat.
I met him. That was the first time I had met him. But Mark I had known, and obviously the 4 of those dudes. But today, Johnny, it's this dude. I'm really honored to have you here, first of all.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
And we've got a couple cats here, but Alyasha's in here with us today.
Peace.
Yeah, Ollie's this dude's from New York, and Ollie's and him have some real strong roots out there. I've been seeing this dude out here on the West Coast and the trade shows and just in the same circles for forever. This is our second Grammy Award winner. Yeah.
Be Real got a big Grammy?
No, I was my homie from Los Lobos.
Oh, I love Los Lobos.
Yeah. Louis Perez, both of him and great friend of mine, mentor of mine, just beautiful person.
Kiko and the Silver Moon. Man.
God, that was like their
that's like the
Sgt.
Apex.
Peppers.
Yeah,
that was yeah. I'm a fan. So besides that, you're a producer.
Yeah.
A&R guy.
Yeah.
And I know you, God, you've done all kinds of things. I did a little research.
Did a few things.
Yeah. You've worked with Carlos Santana.
I did.
You've worked with Everlast.
I did.
You've worked with
I
Beastie Boys.
grew up with
those guys, right?
Yeah, they're like we were teenage punk rock derelicts together.
You were A&R at Def
Jam, Elektra. Where else I do A&R? Oh, I did A&R at not at Loud, but at SRC. And then I ran a company called ADA, which is a distribution company. We put out Macklemore's records and Little Dicky and a bunch of other cool shit.
Still?
So I left like 2 years ago. Yeah. I'm actually starting my own label with Rock Nation's company, Equity. So I have my own label through their distribution company.
Wow.
Yeah, that I just finishing the deal.
I had no idea. So you're still active in the industry.
You know what? I kind of like fell back for a minute when I left my last job. That was like 3 years ago, right before the pandemic. And then I got re-inspired lately and one thing led to another, kind of fell in my lap.
Very interesting that you got re-inspired. We'll talk about that just because it's to me, it's everything's a little bit, and I'm older.
And there's more people that are significant in music, like Queen Latifah, right? Digital Underground.
Busta Rhymes.
Work
with De La Soul. Old Dirty Bastard.
This is like crazy.
You see?
MF Doom.
So I'm gonna call him, he's a connector, but he's also, if you're listening to this, chances are he has influenced you. He has inspired you.
I was a graffiti writer as a kid, a skateboarder. I didn't, you know.
So but he found these artists. He signed these artists. He helped these artists grow. And one thing that Dante is known for is he has besides all that, he has their back.
Always.
Dante is that guy who looks out for the artists, and it's not just sign them and let's make some money. It's sign them and take care of them and do what's right. A shit ton of mutual friends. Like we've just been walking around the building.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've like,
especially Soul
we've been
Assassins
bumping into each other forever and ever. And of course, the Soul Assassins too.
Yeah.
Those are my guys.
Family. And you also produced Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, right?
And
Forever Last.
Yeah, I did.
You co-wrote that?
Yeah, I wrote some of it with them. Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah.
That was like, it's cool. Right?
Yeah. You know, like I've been writing a lot. Like I wrote a book and I wrote a couple screenplays. I optioned 2 of them. And
that was one of the other titles I was about to throw at you. Author.
I'm an author and a screenwriter now.
Sheesh.
And I'm in the process of taking the Everlast part of my book and making a screenplay about that.
Yeah. About him.
It's about us making that record. You know, it's that classic story. 2 guys lost at sea with nothing to lose, and they find a life raft back to it all. And that's basically, you know, a buddy story within that context.
You know what I'm going to say? His book is called Son of the City.
Yeah.
And Ollie and I were speaking yesterday on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, I'm listening," because I started, you know, I do a little bit of research when, you know, I only know so much, and then so I dug in a little bit, and I spoke with Ollie. Was that yesterday or day before?
Day before yesterday.
Day before yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, I'm listening to it right now," and I'm like, "Oh shit, we can listen to it." but it's better. It's better than I thought, because I was assuming it was just going to be about your career, but it was about your upbringing in New York was kind of gnarly. Like you were in some shit. Yeah. Like you were in.
I grew up in the shits.
Yeah, man. Like and that story about your family. So why don't we? I mean, start there. Like what did I know that both your parents were those relationships were very influential. But it seemed like
look, I was raised by wolves, kind of like I didn't really have a lot of parental guidance. My parents were kind of hippies, and you know, I grew up on the Lower East Side, which is, I guess, maybe the equivalent of if you live in LA, like growing up in Boyle Heights, maybe in the 70s. It was a Puerto Rican neighborhood and a pretty wild place to grow up. But you know, my parents love me, man. I'm always like, funny, people will read my book and be like, "Oh, your childhood was crazy. Your parents were so fucked up," and this, that, and other. And I was like, "Nah, it wasn't that crazy. That's just what it is." I think it's all perspective.
Yeah, that's not what I got. I didn't get that part of it. There was definitely love there.
Oh yeah, man. They did the best.
But there was life. Like it just seems like they had their own direction and their own personalities, and it was life. You know what I mean? And it was that time period. And I'll tell you something else. What I really enjoyed, and this is is your soundtrack. I'm going to say 95% of what I was listening to. I think we're right around the same age, but you were nailing shit. And I'm like, no way. No, come on. And then it was just identical shit, but the best shit. But it's great that you're putting these. If you know the music, that's great. If you don't know the music, then you need to learn it or about it, and how those records during that time period made you who you are.
100%. I mean, my whole upbringing, really, because, you know, like I grew up, I was like, there's one other white kid on my block, and I'm outside all the time. You know, like I was never in the house because my house was kind of, you know, it was whatever. It was dysfunctional. So I want to be outside. And I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I got into a lot of things. And growing up the way I did with a lot of Puerto Rican cats, and usually being one of the only white guys around, when I entered the hip hop business, it's the same thing. And I'm used to it. I'm more used to being around Puerto Rican and black people than I am like regular white people. right? Because the way I grew up, this was more my surroundings. So, because of, till I was maybe 10, 11 years old, I went to like the smart kid school. I just was a hood kid. I grew up right where I grew up. I never really left my neighborhood. So it was like training ground for my career, and then all the stuff my parents listened to. Mm-hmm. My mom's listening to like Aretha Franklin and Bill Withers and Al Green, and my sister's super into Latin music. She only dates Puerto Rican dudes, and she's listening to like Hector Lavoe and fucking Willie Colon and all this other shit. And then out in the street, the block parties, I'm hearing like Just Begun and Apache and all these records, Bra by Samande, so Funky Drummer and all this shit. So by the time hip hop starts sampling all this shit, like I already know it all. I'm like, I already know all these records. And I'm like, oh, this situation is like nothing compared to how I grew up. So for me, I'm, a lot of things that make like white people uncomfortable don't make me uncomfortable at all. I'm more uncomfortable around a bunch of UFC bro dudes than I am like with people of color. That's just the way I grew up.
Yeah. So those streets, man, like the comparison to me is, there is no comparison, I guess, and I've struggled with that. I don't understand the boroughs still. I've been in New York a shit ton of times, but I don't understand the size of the boroughs. Like I'd be in Brooklyn and, you go over the bridge and you're in Williamsburg and this is cool. And then I'd go visit some of the homies from Rocksteady, Q Unique and them. And we'd go out to a different part of Brooklyn and we're driving around for like 15, 20 minutes. Where are we? We're still in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
Like, huh? Like how they're not neighborhoods. So we're trying to be like, is Brooklyn Ollie, you can help us here. Is Brooklyn as big as Chula Vista? Is Brooklyn as big as from here to Chula Vista?
It's like
from here to the border. Like
it's like from here to San Ysidro. Like
no
Brooklyn's
shit.
big. Brooklyn's
22 square miles, right?
Yeah. And so the boroughs are technically counties.
They're all counties. Like
so if you had to
Brooklyn is Kings County.
Yeah. Remember that.
So is that
that's easier, right?
They're gonna see these guys. So, but is Brooklyn the biggest borough?
Has the most people.
I think Queens is by square mileage the biggest.
Maybe bigger, yeah.
But Brooklyn
has the most people. Most residential.
It's the most dense.
I know I don't stand alone in this as being from the West Coast. It's like, okay, borough, 5 boroughs. There, people talk about the Bronx. They talk about Queens. We listen to music, and obviously we're hip hop fans, and there's a bunch of. That's like, okay, well, how big is
Brooklyn alone has 4 million plus people alone. 4.5 million people alone in the borough of Brooklyn.
What is it at the beginning of Welcome Back, Kotter?
Exactly.
It's like the 10th largest city in the world.
Yeah.
So Brooklyn alone, so they're counties and they're also their own alone cities.
Yep.
And at one point in time, Brooklyn was the 10th largest city in the world or the U.S.?
And I think in the U.S.
In the U.S.
No, I think maybe the world.
But at the beginning of Welcome Back, Kotter, it says like, welcome to Brooklyn, the 10th largest city.
Would you call Manhattan kind of the epicenter of the 4?
Yeah, Manhattan, like if you're, I don't know San Diego that well, but if you're talking about L.A., like Manhattan would be Hollywood, West Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
that would be Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like you'd have uptown and downtown kind of. And Manhattan is a little longer and has more shitty neighborhoods in it. So maybe it would go all the way from like South Adams maybe to like West Hollywood or even Culver City. Like that would be Manhattan. It's 11 miles long, but it's very narrow, only a mile wide.
I'm trying to think a San Diego equivalent would be difficult. The LA analogy is a real good one.
And Manhattan's weird too because it has Harlem at the top, and Harlem's like the biggest, the epicenter of black culture in America kind of. And then you have on the bottom, the Lower East Side, which is a Puerto Rican neighborhood. So you have like these 2 crazy neighborhoods and then like a lot of nice shit in the middle of it.
So last time I was there, I stayed by the financial district.
Yeah.
What's that park right there? Starts with a B.
Battery Park. Battery Park.
Right. So I stayed right by there. So what is that area called?
That's like financial district. And that's kind of like.
That's not the low?
No, because the Lower East Side's more east, and because Battery Park's facing Jersey, so it's on the east side and it's a little further uptown.
And you can see the Statue of Liberty.
But it's close to there because like right where the Brooklyn Bridge is, when you come over from Brooklyn, when you go right, that's the Lower East Side. All those projects that go all the way up, that's the Lower East Side.
That's it's for us out here. It's just a different geographic.
The Upper East Side is where the Jeffersons came up.
The Upper East Side is corny. The Upper East Side would be like Brentwood or some shit.
Right. Yeah.
But
OJ.
I know Ollie was talking about all the changes that are going on in Harlem.
Oh man,
we were talking about that this morning in my house.
Harlem is on the west side. It's like the upper west side.
Yeah, but people forget that it was a really affluent neighborhood.
It was Sugar Hill, Strivers Road.
Sugar Hill, exactly. Like the Harlem Renaissance happened there, and it really wasn't till after the Depression, when bankers were just walking up to people and being like, "We'll give you cash to leave your house." Like, I mean, straight up, a lot.
That's where all the jazz stuff was. Yeah. Harlem has a long history. Right. To me, like Harlem is like no other place in the world. It's like there's more style and flavor per square inch in Harlem than anywhere in the entire world.
For sure. Yeah. I think like
it's a crazy place. There's nowhere like it. And as a kid, like I never went to Harlem till I got a little older. Until I was like out of high school, probably a couple of times, but it was like, you just didn't, I was like, I'm not going uptown. But when I started going to Harlem, I loved it. I was like, Harlem's amazing.
I think the first time I went up there, I knew a bunch of those, like Ari and those dudes that hung out with like Jiggy and all the Harlem prep kids.
Yeah.
But I was like kind of shook, and I would go everywhere, but like Harlem, I was like,
it's intimidating. I would go to 125th Street before I knew people lived there, and then I'd go anywhere.
For sure.
But,
the music, not just the music that influenced you as a kid, the things you were listening to, that your family, your parents were listening to, your neighbors, things you'd hear on the streets. And then you were blessed and fortunate and beyond that to be in New York during the golden era of not just punk rock, but hip hop, and not just be a spectator, be involved in it and live it.
Oh, there's no reason.
Ollie too.
I think I took Ollie to some of his early punk rock shows.
I have to say, not to sound corny, but it's dope to be in the same room with two of my OGs. Because since I've gotten here, you've always looked out for me since we met. And then, I've known Dante since I was 14.
14.
Yeah. So 84, something like that.
Ollie was bugged out because Ollie hung out with the older kids. He hung out with me and my friends. And he was like kind of too young to hang out with us, but he hung out with us. We'd take him out. He was like, he had a pass very early.
Yeah. Well, Ollie's always been cool, and he's always had style. Except he told me a story once of when he arrived in Venice, and he had on some kind of shorts or something. And they're like, "You can't skate. You are not skating with us like that."
And a blockhead was making all these like teal shirts. And Kelly, so I was staying with Kelly Jackson and Aaron, and I started skating to the boardwalk, and Kelly came flying after me like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, You can't roll out there like that."
Aaron Murray probably skating in a wife beater and some black Dickies.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But that's one of the, and Johnny can vouch for this too, is one of the common denominators of so many guests on this show is skateboarding.
Oh yeah. Like that's where it all starts. Skateboarding and graffiti.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, like if you were cool, you wrote graffiti and you skateboarded, and maybe you were breakdancing too.
Yeah.
Those were like the things you did. And I mean, it was like, and it was all connected. I can't even explain. Everything was connected. I grew up like my generation of kids were like maybe the first generation of kids who were into punk rock who ended up being involved in hip hop, right? It was like there was Fat Five Freddy and those guys who were older than us, and then us. So we're second. But man, I grew up going to see the Bad Brains. I saw the Clash in 1980, the Specials. I saw everybody, man. I saw everyone short of the Sex Pistols. Cause I started hanging out when I was, 13 years old. I was in nightclubs 13, 14 years old, going to see shows. And cause in New York, you only had to be 18 back then, and you just had to be cool.
I wish I could have met that kid. He sounds like a real fucking cool kid.
I was a troublemaker.
No,
but I was a bad kid.
So but you have this, and if people are watching this, they could see Dante. Dante looks like he could have been like the fourth Beastie. Like he's just just. You do.
I mean,
like, you have that like those were your boys growing up.
Yeah. I mean, John Berry, the dude who died, who was in the band, he was my best friend. He was a guitarist, and when they got hip hop, he was like, I'm into punk rock. He never got into hip hop. But he was my best friend and my roommate. But first time I saw Adam Yauch was at a Sham 69 gig. He was there with these girls I went to grade school with who were in a band called Luscious Jackson. And I was new wave. I had like a Tony Hawk haircut.
Yeah.
Bowling shirt and shit. I was like, I wasn't all the way in yet. I was like, maybe I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm checking it out. And Yauch was like, he had an overcoat on and like some boots, like combat boots. He was like, weighed about 111 pounds. And he was like, I was like, who the fuck is that kid? He looks cool. And it was Adam Yauch.
Yeah.
And we became friends like 6 months later, a year later. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was a great dude.
But then, so they ventured into hip hop, and you ventured.
We kind of all did. So
from the punk rock scene.
Yeah, we were really into the Bad Brains, and all of the bands we liked were kind of breaking up. It was like the Clash break up, the Specials break up. The Clash were more like the Clash get corny, the Specials break up. The Bad Brains are going to be a reggae band, and all these dudes showed up because we were like more punk rock than hardcore, and all these kids were like the bald head dudes showed up, the eggheads, like all these dudes from Queens, and some of them were friends of mine, you know, but the whole vibe wasn't our vibe. The shit wasn't cool. And she was like macho and it's a little corny. And I remember my friend John Berry said, yo, man, punk rock, he's like, this whole thing, it's kind of whack. And we're like, what do you mean? He's like, yo, there's no chicks. Like, dudes fucking running around with their shirts off, like bald heads, kind of questionable, bro. He's like, and I was like, I got you. He's like, yo, man, I'm gonna start hanging out over here at this club, Danceteria. And he's like, yo, there's chicks there. And we started going to clubs really because the girls, and we were like, we didn't want to hang out with them dudes who were tough. Like, you know, like half of us were like, you know, I grew up with real tough dudes, you know? I don't really want to be around that. I wanted to like do some cool shit.
Was it like some CBGB shit?
Yeah, we went to CBs all the time. And we, you know, it was bands like, the bands that came after us were like the hardcore bands, like the Cro-Mags, Agnostic Front, like it was more like skinhead shit. And we just, that wasn't cool to me. That wasn't cool for us.
A lot of those same bands, that all was relevant, just as relevant here, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But especially Bad Brains. Like,
Bad Brains.
You talk to anybody, it's like Bad Brains, you know, like.
What's funny though, we liked a lot of the Orange County bands. Like we liked SSD, I mean, not SS, we liked Social Distortion.
Yep.
We liked, we loved Black Flag. Black Flag played in New York all the fucking time. We loved them. We liked the Adolescents and some of those bands. Those bands were cool. It was the stuff that got a little tougher, more skinhead-ish. And then as you go forward in time, that stuff just kind of.
I think the hardcore space is what really changed the difference, you know, the growth from punk rock into hardcore.
Yep.
And then you get these kind of meathead bro guys coming around. And and there's pros and cons to it. Like the straight edge hardcore scene, which I was part of, was really healthy for me in my own personal growth. But yeah, to Dante's point, like even some might argue, but I remember like old, I don't remember any of their names, but I would see them like a bunch of traditional skinheads that were like reggae dudes.
Yeah. That's cool to me.
Associated with DMS because they were Doc Marten skins.
Yeah. Shout out DMS.
But because
my good friends.
That's
I
right.
don't know a lot of those dudes. So I don't
see, there goes that same circle.
I don't want to get slapped. But they all were like, you know, Crombies and you know, Levi Stay Pressed and only Oxblood Doc Martens or loafers. They all dressed really sharp. And then like the whole hardcore space just got real violent.
Yeah.
The girls left the scene. There were a lot of girls at punk shows.
This was post-punk, right?
It's just late punk. It's
late
like
punk.
punk is right turning into hardcore. It's like 82, 81,
like
82,
after,
83.
After
the Clash, the Buzzcocks. And I saw all those bands. That's what made me love punk rock. And they had a sense of humor.
No, what I meant to say, I'm sorry, was post-disco.
Post-disco.
So post-disco, but then disco came. So you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I am. But disco was very influential in hip hop.
100%.
So
100%. All the shit that people were rapping over was disco.
So there was a gap. Did disco kind of go away?
There wasn't really a gap. And this is a big misnomer with a lot of people that consider themselves aficionados. Like so Dante's a few years older than me, but if you grow up in New York, you couldn't not experience hip hop and or punk rock. Hip hop permeated the streets. It was everywhere.
And at every car, every club, every bar.
And then,
what year?
So 79.
Yeah, it's from Sugar Hill Gang.
Right.
So, Rapper's Delight. That was everywhere.
That was
on
the
radio.
first shit that I was listening to.
Every block party, it was, you know, a lot of disco records and a handful of early hip hop records. And because they were new, that's what you want. I need more of it. I got to hear more of it. When did the Awesome 2 radio still? So it was. It's
a little later.
Supreme Team,
and they were the first people, the first gods I ever heard on.
Right.
Ever.
And then you get this punk hip hop thing that was
Well,
happening.
you get the new wave thing.
Right.
Tom Tom Club, Genius of Love.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
That was like new wave.
But that's 81.
Right?
That's so early. You know, I always think that punk rock ran its course.
But those were also, think about that. Like Magnificent Seven was played on Kiss.
100%.
Blondie Rapture was.
100%.
These were played
Tom
on
Club.
mainstream.
They were black records. These were black records.
And
100%.
People try to take it away, like they try to turn it into like a weird race thing. It's like no,
they
were
played those records.
rap records.
100%.
They were new.
I can't
rap
wait by
records.
new
But
shoes.
Debbie Harry was
AEIOU.
very influential in blowing it up, right?
Of course, that's
That
the
was-
first.
that
She's
was-
the first.
She's the one that crossed it over and got people's attention.
The
Not-
Rapture came out in 1980. Think about that. 1981, Genius of Love.
Yeah.
These records are coming out very early. Even Once in a Lifetime by the Talking Heads. And Africa Bambaataa played all these records, and he played them alongside everything else. Right. You know, they used to literally play Rock Lobster in the Roxy. Yeah. Right? You know, they played all these cool new wave records. Yeah. And for us as punk rock kids who, you know, we get a little older, we're listening to rap right next to our punk rock records. We're listening to Magnificent Seven. This is Radio Clash, which are basically rapping on, and we're listening to Treacherous 3 and Cold Crush Brothers and all this stuff. It was all one thing.
Play that beat by Globe.
Exactly.
The first thing you said is punk, rock, hip hop, and soul.
So, but
salsa,
going back to the Gap,
you know what I'm saying? The first verse is he acknowledges all the
Supreme
music.
Team. I mean,
there was a Gap.
There wasn't
no gap.
It just was
just
this flow.
One right into each other. And you know what's crazy about the early hip hop stuff? Like, so I would go to the Roxy as early as 82. I went to the Grill, which became the Roxy Party. Hip hop was more welcoming than hardcore.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
You never went to the hip hop party and people try to beat you up.
No.
You went to the hip hop party and a girl might dance with you and someone might smoke weed with you and you meet people and see some cool shit. You went to the hardcore party, the hardcore show, and there was a fight.
Yeah.
So it's like very funny how it's reversed. It was way more welcoming and the vibes were way cooler. So we went to that. We were like, this is cool. There's girls here. People are dancing. It's fun. You know, it was like a party. It was like fun.
And to the same point, then freestyle came out of that whole, more out of
Shannon.
the disco end of the thing.
Like, 1982. Let the music
play.
Lisa Coltrane, Lookout Weekend. They played all those records in the hip hop parties.
And because a lot of them were signed to hip hop labels.
They were. They came out on hip hop labels.
Stevie B. Who was the dude?
Dominatrix, Sleeps Tonight was on Streetwise. Yeah. That was on Arthur Baker's label. All this stuff was all connected. And freestyle to me was, in the beginning, great. And the freestyle parties were the best because they had the hottest girls.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'll go.
That's how you rate it.
They go, Debbie Deb's playing? I'm going to that shit.
And there used to be a lot of low-key goth girls at the freestyle parties.
It was always Latin goth girls. I don't know why. That's like that's the thing from day one.
Still are.
Yeah. I think it's better. It's bigger with like Chicanos than in New York, but there was chicks dressing like a goth Madonna at like a freestyle party.
I dated this girl named Rosemary. Do you remember her? Rosemary Delgado?
I remember.
She lived down the block from Nels.
Yeah. 15th Street. I knew her.
And listen.
Not that well.
Sorry. Anyway.
You know what? Go ahead, Johnny.
Well, how much time, so like Sugar Hill Gang, right?
Yeah.
Rapper's Delight, Rapture. How much time before that, or how many years before that was that type of music on the streets of New York?
It was like, it wasn't really everywhere. It was like in Harlem and the Bronx and Brooklyn. Like it wasn't like I wasn't tapped into it. Really, for me, I can't front. It was Sugar Hill Gang. And I had a friend in school, this dude named Columbus Van Horn, but he called him Jackie. If you called him Columbus, you might get punched in the mouth. And then I went to the smart kid school, and Jackie was my dog. That was my man. He was like, Jackie, don't call me Columbus. He was ill. He was like shaving in like 7th grade. He was that guy. I love Sugar Hill Gang. I used to be like, hotel, motel, how that was. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I was like, we at the party. I had the 45. I was like, yo, play this in the school parties. And he was like, yo, I'm going to give you this tape. And it was a live soundboard tape from Harlem World. And it had Busy B and Cool Mo D. It was DJ AJ, Curtis Blow's DJ. And that's really where I tuned into rap. That was the tape that made me really like rap. But what people don't remember is, as the Roxy and all this started to wind down and all the dudes on stage were looking like a broke Rick James.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was just like, they had like it was like a crazy style was going down. You know, like dudes, we couldn't dress like that. You can't wear leather pants and 9 belts. Shit doesn't, you can't get down like that.
The fringe.
Yeah, like, yo.
It looked like a leather daddy with like.
Yeah, with the spikes and all that. Like, if I wore that on the train, dudes would beat me up. Like, I'll never make it to the city alive. So Run DMC came out, and Run DMC broke every barrier. And that's really, to me, that's the group that made rap music like a main part of American culture. That's what converted more white kids to rap music than anything prior, because they were yelling, they screamed at you. There was no music. It's just drums and scratches. So it's anti-music, and they dress like the audience. They look like the hip hop kids. They didn't look like a broke Rick James.
You mean Raising Hell?
Before that, I'm talking
Before
sucker
Raising Hell.
MCs. Sucker MCs. They
And
just
here
had
we
the,
go.
exactly.
Because
It's like that.
Sugar Hill Gang, like that was cool. And then we were just I was listening to a lot of ska music, some punk rock stuff, rock and roll, classic rock, all soul music, funk.
Yeah.
And then actually,
funk was always much bigger in
Actually, there
California.
was this guy who was in a local band called the Beat Farmers. His name was Raleigh. And this dude turned on my homie and me onto the Beastie Boys.
Right.
So that just grabbed me. Like it was Licensed to Ill. And then I was working as a janitor at that time, and I had a little cassette Walkman.
Yo, you came a long way, kid.
Yeah.
You were definitely not a janitor
That's right,
anymore.
brother. I was paying my way through college.
Dope.
But I would listen to on repeat Licensed to Ill and Raising Hell.
Yeah.
Mixed in with whatever else I was listening to.
That's 86.
But that was
That's
later.
That's 3 years after Run DMC.
But that's how long it took
yeah.
for it to get. You remember that?
Yeah.
This was, you could hear it on the radio, maybe Fight for Your Right, or this guy was
Yeah.
the guy who hipped us to it because he was traveling. Like
Right.
he was on the road. He was
Right.
doing shows in New York. Like he was.
I remember the name, the Beat Farmers.
Yeah, they were from San Diego. But that is the dude who really was that 86?
86.
Yeah. So it took that long.
Or 80, is it 86 or 85?
I don't know.
What? BC?
Raising Hell. It's 85.
Was it 85?
85.
Yeah,
Yeah.
86. Late 86 is Eric B. and Rakim.
But those two, and then for me personally, after that, then when I don't know what year it was, you probably know what year it was that NWA came out.
NWA is 88.
Okay, the gangster shit, West Coast gangster shit, and then we all fucking fell for that, like just head first. This is the shit, and then Cypress.
Yeah.
And it was
yeah.
it was a wrap. It was
remember
just like
86
it was-
on License to Ill.
Yeah. Okay. It was 86. Nailed it.
I was-
Nailed it. But you see what I mean? Like then as soon as Cypress came out and it was even more relatable, then NWA was definitely relatable. But when Cypress Hill came out and it was bilingual and they were talking about the shit that we love and we know a little closer to home. It was all close to home, but Cypress was like,
You know, people thought they were from New York.
because Muggs.
The Muggs, the beats sound like New York, and Cypress Hill. Cypress is an area in East New York. So Cypress Avenue and Cypress House is a big housing project.
Gangsters.
So people just thought they were crazy Puerto Rican dudes from over there.
Yeah.
People, that was the whole vibe. And then the way they dressed with the bucket hats, and they didn't dress like in khakis and all that.
Did
There
you know
wasn't-
them back then?
Yeah, I knew them before they came out. I knew Muggs when he was in 783. And I knew B-Real when his name was Louis.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
Still Lou.
is.
Yeah. But that's what we called him, Lou. Louis.
Yeah.
He was young.
Yeah.
I got a crazy story about one of the first times I hung out with them. I was in LA with De La Soul. We're doing a show at World on Wheels. And we were hanging out with Muggs and B-Real. And maybe Brett from 783. Someone else was there. I don't think it was Sen. And we're hanging out, and I don't think they let Sen out of the neighborhood yet. He was still, he couldn't leave.
Might have been.
He's in
Might have
Southgate.
been Son Doobie.
Nah, Doobie wasn't Doobie. I think it was one of the 783 dudes. Or maybe it was their man, Snow, who disappeared, their man, old school man. We're hanging out, and I had a red St. John shirt on. We're going to World on Wheels. And I was like, they were like, yo, take that off. And I was like, why? They was like, you can't wear that over there. I was like, really? B-Real's like, yo, don't wear that over there. It's cripped out over there. And I was like, oh, word? All right. And they were like, we were like, yo, we're going to the show. And Muggs and them, I was like, yo, we'll see you over there. And B-Real was like, nah, I ain't going. And I was like, why? He's like, I can't go over there. And I didn't know why. Right? I would find out later. And I would learn all about that shit from Sen and B. I didn't know that he was notorious. He was only like 17, 18. And they came to New York for the New Music Seminar when they were called DVS. That was the name of their crew. Before they were Cypress, before they came out, and they stayed at my house. And Muggs used to stay at my house when I lived on 108th Street. So I knew them way back. I'll never forget B-Real. It was like 95 degrees in New York. He had 2 T-shirts on. and Dickies and some Cortez. And I was like, look at this fool.
Yep.
Like he's so
And we
Cali.
stand out at the first time I went to New York with a Big Lucky,
Oh, yeah.
Esteban Carl.
Mhm.
We went out there and we hooked up with the homies from Tats Crew, Sue Kwan.
Yeah. Photographer, my good friend.
Yeah, she's a shit.
She's the best.
Just showed us around all that, and we everywhere we go. You guys are from Cali, huh?
Yeah.
It's like how? Like how do you know? Like just the way we look, the way we talk, just stood out. But,
You know, New York dudes, we didn't know what essays were. I knew because I spent, my dad used to live in San Francisco in the Mission. So I seen essays since I was a teenager, since I was like 12 or 13 years old. I always thought Chicano shit was cool. Lowriders.
me too.
I mean, shocking. But I always thought like, the lowriders, like I used to be on Mission Street by the Mission Cultural Center, and they would go from 14th to 16th Street. You could still hop on Mission.
Yeah.
And that was like a car show.
Yeah.
So I seen all that shit since I was a kid.
The beautiful thing about, and I'm gonna wave a flag a little bit about, the United States, America's like we dig hip hop.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys and the influence that you see in New York in clothing and music from West Coast. So it's beautiful. There's no place else like that, and not just the coast, but everything in between has ways of influencing the coast. But I don't know, it's a beautiful thing, man. Like going out to New York and getting that love, and then the homies come out here, it's the same thing. Like, I've did a lot of stuff with Rocksteady, like really diving into hip hop, like in the early 90s, like real hip hop heads. Like, I was listening to the music.
I have the
and shit
T-shirt.
like that.
You sponsored one of the Rocksteady joints.
We sponsored
I got it.
15 of those.
I got the T-shirt.
We was doing a lot of stuff with Rocksteady and the Beat Nuts and Tony Touch and Legs and everybody that was Rocksteady out there, and Tats Crew and just a lot of really, really good people in New York. And
I feel like New York, like, gets a bad rep because New York always kind of had like all the East Coast, West Coast shit. That shit was always weird to me because I always felt like Cali dudes had love in New York, and I always had love in Cali.
I didn't feel that either, to be honest, even when we would go out there. But where it came together, and you know this too, where it really came together, and Ali will tell you the same fucking thing because he's reading my mind right now, is the 432F show.
Yeah, man.
And
432, the first one.
432F show, ASR, like all this shit.
432F became agenda. Well, not became agenda, but it was like agenda before agenda.
It was the show. It was.
I remember.
It was the groundbreaking. I always tell
I drove
people,
down for I was in LA, and me and my people came and checked it out.
Yeah.
I came down with Cottonmouth Lou.
It was undeniably the first streetwear specific trade show.
I always
Globally.
tell people that's where streetwear was born. Like,
sure.
and I'll stand by that because that was the first place. Like, we met Stash and Futura and 555 Soul and Mark Echo. Everybody who was doing, and
Eric
Doe,
Hayes,
Doe, Doe. That's
Sean
where I met
Stacey,
everybody,
Paul, like
everybody. And then there was all of us.
Ash from
Con
Art.
was there.
So there was both, and when it all came together, it was beautiful, man. And I'm gonna go back to what we said earlier, and it wasn't just the golden era of what because you've used that term too. It was the golden era of music, hip hop, punk rock and roll. You probably know more about that than I do. I do know, but not as much as you do. But that whole vibe of streetwear and culture and skateboarding and
what year is that?
93, 92, something like that.
My old girlfriend had the company Funk Essentials.
No, it was 92 because
92.
We went to Japan in 94, so it had to be 92 because we had that relationship for about a year.
Yeah, because my girl Pauline had that brand Funk Essentials, and they had a store in LA, and I came hung out with her. Yeah. They knocked off Champion. Yeah. Nice. But
there was no social media.
Rick Klotz.
All of that. And we were just doing it with flyers,
yeah.
magazines, word of mouth,
phone calls
letters, with cords,
flyers for sure,
fax machines,
papers.
Yeah.
Think about that. And that's like a global thing. People from all over the world came to that.
I mean, that was the birth of it. It's
to
like
go and buy.
I mean, it was. I was when it all started. Shit, I was in the first Stussy ad, so I was. And to me, streetwear. To me, the first thing I consider streetwear was my Dogtown T-shirt. Mm-hmm. So my skate shirt, I had my Dogtown shirt with no sleeves. That was my street. To me, that was when I'm 15. That's streetwear.
And you was rocking that shit in New York.
Oh fuck
yeah! You were a king.
Oh, fuck yeah!
With that shit in New York, with the cholo letters and gangster looking stuff.
I mean, to us when we're little kids and we seen Skateboarder magazine, because I'm old as hell. when I was looking at that shit, we seen all the surfer looking
Oh,
dudes.
look at all he had a bust.
Sick.
Still rats.
Here,
Sick.
show the camera. Yep, that's
Sick.
it. So, who was here? Who told us the story?
Which one?
Jason Brown about the X's.
Oh yeah,
That Mike, you
Mike,
see
yeah.
the X's on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
Bones.
Mike produces those, and the old school bandanas used to have X's on
Yep.
them, and the new ones don't.
Don't.
But he produces them intentionally, or he did something where he bought the X's on bandanas. I don't know what
That's
it was,
crazy.
but you know, I Stussy, that to me is
The first street, it's the first like
man.
official streetwear.
Yeah.
brand.
And I agree with you, and I tell people that all the time, and they're still here, and they're still doing well, and still alive, and doing all that, you know, just producing really
They were
quality
really
stuff.
smart the
They've
way they
always had
connected
cool shit.
music and the culture to the brand. Like Sean was, you know, after Sean broke out, like it kind of, to me, like it's different.
Absolutely.
And Sean was my friend. Like he was a great dude. He came to New York. Paul Middleman was like, "Hey, we want to do this ad." And I was like, "What do I get? Free clothes." Really? Okay.
I mean,
so we did it. If you look at that first ad, I have a flipped up baseball hat, like Suicidal style, and I have a stopwatch on. I'm wearing a stopwatch like Flavor Flav with a gold,
but
with
real
a,
small.
with the small and a gold chain. I had a gold rope.
Yeah.
I'm fly.
Yeah.
And that was the ad. And man, Sean took me to Japan. He blessed me mad times. Took me to Japan the first time I went. That was a great time. That was a super fun time for all of it. And I remember like the shirt to me that when I was like, streetwear's the thing, was that fucking Philly Blunt shirt.
Yeah.
That was the shirt. Like you
Who
pick
did
the
that?
shirt.
Was that Stash?
Stash and
right?
Futura. They had a company. They had two companies. NFC, not from Concentrate.
Yeah, with
Gerb.
yeah.
And they had
Rest in
GFS,
peace.
Gerb,
Yeah.
Futura, and Stash.
Yeah.
And that shirt,
I still have a hat somewhere.
it all fell apart, and it got bootlegged to death. That was the most bootleg shirt ever. But that shirt for like 1 year was the coolest shirt in the whole world.
Yeah. When we first did ASR, they had no idea where to put us. The first time we were in, they were like, where are we going to put these guys? Like, what? And they, for like, at least the first 5 years, they put us right next to Stussy.
Dope.
Yeah, it was always next to Stussy. And then as things started to grow, the neighborhood started to grow, and it was Gap was there.
Oh, yeah,
They
Gap.
put-
Green Apple Tree.
I just seen
Camilla
Luis
and
the
us.
other day.
Louis, yeah, he's still.
Yeah, man. That was,
And then once 555 Soul started doing the shows, we would always be like, we want to be by them, and they wanted to be by us. And,
They're super underrated, man. She kind of got like, you know, like I think people don't remember how cool that brand was.
that was a really cool brand, and they were
They
great,
made, and they also made
great
really,
people.
really good shit.
genuine shit.
And she made really, like her cargo pants. I still have a pair of linen cargo pants that are so dope that she made. I like that brand. She was cool.
I always liked the brand, and there was a guy who worked for the brand later after Camilla named Troy. Did you
I
know
remember. Yeah.
Troy was I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Great guy. Rest in peace. Great friend. And
Well,
we
he
would
passed. I didn't know
He did.
that.
Oh yeah, a while
Yeah.
back. We would go to China, Carl and me and Troy and Nogman, and I'd learn a lot because they opened up their connections. They schooled us like on production in China,
But I
things
feel
like
like
that. But
the community at that point in time, like it was too small for people to be like, nah. You know, it was like, think how many people used to use Venari from all over the
Yeah.
world. There was a knit factory down in National City, San Diego, that made like socks and wristbands and
beanies.
and ski sweaters and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
But like everybody used them.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel
everybody
like
would be
it's
hey,
goofy now, man. Streetwear is kind of goofy now.
Yes.
You know,
I'm wearing a Supreme
you know
shirt.
what it
but
is? It's like
still kind of and a born and raised hat.
and there's not a lot going on my humble opinion, I don't think there's much going on. Like there's,
you know what it
there's a
is?
handful, because I think what happens is they've a lot of them have been bought, or they license everything and they
just
lose control.
The brands don't have a story. There's nothing to it. Supreme was based on, you know, like you could say the ethos of kids. It's New York street kids who skateboard and they're kind of derelict dirt bags, and it's all about this thing. Or you look at like a brand like you guys, you're about something. Born and Raised, one of the only newer brands about something. It's about like, I'm from here and this is where I'm from. You can't take my shit. You're not going to gentrify my shit. And I'm about me and my people. And we're going to show you what LA is really about, because LA is not about that Hollywood shit. It's about this, right? But you don't have that a lot. There's a lot, most of these brands, they don't stand for anything,
Absolutely.
right? You know, and I think that's part of the problem with it. It doesn't mean anything. And also I see and I'm from the outside looking in. You know,
my
that's all my friends, but I see how the fascination with luxury goods, right? All these dudes let luxury goods steal their money, right? So all these cats were like, oh yeah, Gucci, Balenciaga, like it's cool, right? And they kind of just like did their version of streetwear at a way inflated price point. Like, so it's luxury streetwear. And the flex became for a lot of these dudes, Supreme, that's cool, but I'm going to go buy the Balenciaga $1,100 sweatshirt. And that's my streetwear flex. But it's not a flex because you didn't have to wait online to get it. You didn't have to know someone to get it. You didn't find it thrifting. You just paid a lot of money for it, right? And in a way, and I really like the brand Supreme as mass as it's got because James is my friend and they've been giving me shit for years. But when they did the LVMH thing, that was like the beginning of the end of a lot of this. Mm-hmm. And now we luxury goods, they saw the money and they were like, you know what? We're going to take your money too. Watch, because our shit is corny right now. It's stale. So we're going to reinvent ourselves on the back of streetwear. And it's funny to me how cats kind of just were like, yo, that's cool. Great.
That's exactly what I was saying too. They lose control. They sell to somebody else. They get investors. Someone takes them over and end of story. End of story. Like, even like you were saying too, when Sean left, like I tell people
it became a different company.
They know who we are. Like they can tell who our homies are, who we roll with, who we're clicked up with, if it's graph writer, if it's tattooers, if it's hip hop heads, if it's skate, whatever it is. There's not a lot of companies like that anymore. Like you'll see us at car shows, you'll see us at events, you'll see like we're still representing the same way we did since the early 90s. But, like what Dante was saying, it's like it's just become a money thing.
It's a money thing, man. Sure. It don't have no culture to it. There's nothing attached to it. A lot of the brands that started coming up in like the 205, 206, that era, like whether it was anything or Mishka, they kind of meant something. Those brands had a point of view. Like them or not, those brands had a culture to them and they meant something. And I like those brands. And to me, that was inspiring. But post that 10 years, not so inspiring to me.
I think the thing is everybody started, you get all these celebrities attaching themselves to brands that don't really know.
That takes us.
And then what happens is they start introducing it's like the dudes in the barbershop that are talking about records. Like, oh, that dude went gold and it's like, do you know that dude? Like, is that dude putting money up? You don't know him to be talking about him like that. Same thing started happening in the garment industry or the streetwear industry. And then it's solely about price. It's like, this weird perceived value thing. But what happens is all the brands and then trend all of a sudden becomes like a cool word, right? And it's like, oh, well, it's not trending. I don't want it, which is the antithesis of where we all started.
Right.
All these brands started to be anti-trend because we didn't want to wear the status quo. And now it's the complete inverse where it's like, oh, it's really about like, I need to be part of the status quo. And then all the brands started to look the same. There's really like one big brand with 10 different labels. And to both your points, what was interesting about early streetwear is you had like mod brands, punk rock brands, hip hop brands, graffiti brands, breakdancing brands,
stoner brands,
surf brands. You know what I mean? And everybody was like, all right, it's just all this cottage industry, and some encompass all those things, right? But they all had one unifying subculture, which was a new subculture, streetwear, and everybody was like down to help each other, regardless of like, oh, this dude looks. What was that brand? Solid. Was that the name of that brand? It was like
a good name for a brand.
I think it was like a mob brand, and they always had like a bullseye. I mean, there was think about how many cool brands came and left that were really about something, and their crews were about something. You knew all the dudes. They were all like.
It's funny that there was the early luxury kind of streetwear brands were like Japanese mostly, right? But they were cool. W-Taps.
Yeah.
Neighborhood.
Right.
But those brands were dope. Those brands are dope.
Still dope.
They're still dope. Bounty Hunter. But those were cool brands.
But
Maharishi from England. Those brands were higher price point, but they made great shit.
Right.
But they weren't like, you couldn't get it everywhere. You can't go and buy W-Taps everywhere like you can that stupid ass Gucci shirt or Balenciaga shirt.
Right.
Me, because I was so, kind of a punk rock aesthetic. I never wanted an LVMH nothing. I don't want it. Gucci, anything. I don't care about that stuff. That's not fresh to me. I didn't want it. I wanted a rare ass T-shirt. I wanted a Steve Miller Band T-shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
so I'm gonna turn that into where streetwear has gone. You're a music guy.
Rap did the same shit, man.
That's what I did. As soon as Ollie said, like,
I was thinking of Schoolie D.
Yeah.
That's
the way that fashion changed,
and that was hot.
So
I had a fake Gucci watch that was 2 watches. One time was L.A., one time was New York.
Fucked with Third Base too. Right?
I did. I produced Third Base.
No shit.
I produced Pablo's the Weasel.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they shout you out on that too. They talk shit or they're like, shit. They're good ass. They were badass, dude. Yeah.
They had a moment.
They
had a moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if it had the lasting impact.
Then they tried to go after the Beasties, like battle them a little bit. That was weak, and the Beasties handled it beautifully. Yeah, but I enjoyed the Third Base stuff. So
that's the first.
Dude, how did you
get
in,
record
dude?
I ever produced was
there we go.
Third Base was Pop Goes the Weasel, and I made it. We made that record because I seen EPMD used to come out to Sledgehammer, and I was hanging out with Pete Nice on tour. And I was like, yo, you need to use that. He's like, I do, right? I was like, we need to get that. And we just did it. And then Eric Sermon, when I seen him, he was like, yo, you guys got me. I was like, sleep, you lose.
How many platinum albums have you produced?
I produced maybe like 6 or 7, maybe a little more. And I think I've A&R'd like 10. I have like 20-something platinum gold records. I have, how many? I don't have them. She don't like them up in the house. She thinks they look tacky. So I don't put too many of them up, but I got about like 20 of them in the house.
They look good in the bathroom sometimes.
I got the Santana one that's 17 times platinum.
Sure.
So that one I like. That's a winner.
Yeah.
I like that one and a couple others. I put you know which ones are up in my house? I lost I don't know where my license to ill is. I don't know what happened to it. I'm so mad about that. And they gave me it just because I was like their goofy friend. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I have De La. First De La's on my wall, 3 Feet High and Rising. I have Old Dirty Bastard.
You signed them?
I was their A&R guy. Monica Lynch signed them. But I worked on the record really closely with them. I have, which ones do I put? I have my 8 Mile plaque is up. That's like 6 times platinum.
What'd you do on that?
I produced a couple of songs on it. And I was always really cool with those guys, with all the shady dudes. Is really like, they're nice guys. My lawyer was their lawyer. We were all friends. And I did a Macy Gray song on that and a song with Young Z. I actually had 2 songs that were like lightweight kind of filler, but I was the only guy who had 2 songs on the album.
There you go.
So and I caught a nice check.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That sounded like a check. Yeah.
And that's the one that keeps coming. That shit never stops.
Everlast.
I mean, that's platinum 3 times.
I love that album.
Yeah, that was great. The second one's gold. I mean, I'm trying to think what other ones I produced that were platinum. I got like 20 of them. No, which ones are in my house? Everlast is up on my house. Old Dirty Bastard's up in the house. Santana's up in the house. De La Soul's up in the house. I think that's.
Did you work with Wu-Tang too?
I didn't work with Wu-Tang. I worked with RZA and I worked with Old Dirty really closely. Oh, I got a Little Dicky, but that's not up in the house. I got a Macklemore. Those things are in the closet.
I like the Little Dicky stuff.
He's cool. He's funny.
You know what I really enjoyed?
His TV show's great.
Oh my god!
TV show's better than the record.
Did you finish it?
I didn't watch the new season because I'm going to watch it in one shot.
Watch the new season.
I heard it's really good.
The last episode of the new season is like. How did he pull this off? Me too.
I'm a fan of the show.
Yeah, I'm a fan of like the whole personality, his approach.
He told me he was going to have a show when I was signing him. He's like, oh yeah, after I get a gold record, I'm going to have a TV show. Like he's the most.
You signed him?
Yeah, he's the most confident dude ever. So this guy named Anthony Martini was managing him, and he had a song called Ex-Boyfriend, and it was like popping on YouTube. And I went to see him in Philly, and I convinced him to do a distribution deal. And I put Fetty Wap on their song on Save That Money.
So he signed Dave Little Dicky, and he hasn't watched the show yet.
I watched the first 2 seasons. I didn't watch the third season.
So you're saving it.
I'm saving it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, no. I'm going to watch it in one shot. I'm going to sit there and watch it probably in 2 days.
In the last 10 years, who have you signed?
Made in Tokyo. I don't know. You know who that is? He had a record, Uber Everywhere. It's like platinum record. He has a couple of records. He has like 3 platinum records. I signed him. I signed I Am Sue. I signed Little Dicky. I signed Macklemore.
Macklemore.
I signed, I did his distribution deal. which is a little different. And I did.
I like that too. We were watching something the other day. I don't know if it was new or old, but I like his style. I like Macklemore.
He's cool. He makes some cool music. It's it's cool. Now he's cool. He made some good shit. Like it just kind of won.
There's something there.
It won a place like and my son, this kid Sada Baby from Detroit. He's got like a gold record or two. I think those are like the last guy. Oh, I signed. You're gonna laugh. I signed Big Frida. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yeah.
So I signed Big Frida because I signed her in the middle of Donald Trump bullshit too, and I was like, I'm gonna sign a trans black chick from New Orleans because she's fucking dope. And you go to her show and everyone's loose. It's just so fun. And I was like, I don't know if we ever made the great record with her yet, but fuck me, she's on all the Beyonce records and she's fucking mad cool. Like of all the artists I signed, like she's one of the coolest.
You do rock records too?
I never signed rock bands. I produced rock records. I did a lot of shit for Korn. I did like 5 or 6 remixes.
Then that's probably where I used to see you too with the Korn shit.
Yeah.
Because I was all up in that too.
Yeah,
like
I did the Freak on a Leash remix. That was the hit. Like that was my version. I did a bunch of shit for them and remixes for Incubus and a bunch of the rock rap bands. And I love rock music, but I think the kind of rock music I like is more Black Keys than like metal type stuff.
See, I don't know. Nailing it.
Like I'm a Black Keys kind of guy.
Yeah, me too.
I like Rival Sons. I like kind of that stuff. That stuff's cool. I like this cat Aaron Fraser. I wouldn't say he's rock, but
it's Duran Jones, right?
Yeah,
the drummer.
He's the drummer and the singer, and his solo stuff's really good. He's a really great singer. Sounds like Smokey Robinson kind of. He's like a fantastic.
How'd you get
singer.
the job?
I was friends with the Beasties. I started to work for Russell and those guys, Russell Simmons and
at Def Jam?
At Rush, at their management company. He used to come and visit me there. My desk was right in the front. And you and Beasley, rest in peace, our boy we grew up with, skater kid, like him and Ollie were like, it's funny in New York. I'll just say this real quick. Like, the whole thing about like black skaters, there's lots, man, New York always had black skateboarders. Like, I don't know why. Like,
I was always
that's
like,
always
when
the
it was
thing.
like,
And mad Spanish cats too, like Obed and just,
Alex.
Alex, like mad dudes. I
Corbin,
knew. Even
like
older dudes,
Mike
Victor
Hernandez,
Perez when I was a kid. Like there was always all these.
Kid Panama.
Yeah, exactly. This dude
KP,
Nelson Vales, like all these dudes we knew who were black or Puerto Rican who skateboarded in New York. That was always part of it. Like, so it became like a thing for the black skater. But like to me, that's everyone I know.
That was like some made up shit.
Yeah, that's some. Like, we go to Washington Square Park and half the dudes is black and Puerto Rican and some white dudes and a couple of Chinese dudes. That's how it is. So I started friends with the Beasties. I worked for Russell. I went out every night. I went to this club called the Latin Quarters all the time, which was like, that's like World on Wheels and Skateland of New York.
Cute.
Like it's super dangerous, super dope. And Union Square before that. And they started asking me what records was popping. Yo, what do they play in the Latin Quarters? What do they play in Union Square? What do they play at the Red Parrot? What record? And started asking me about shit. And I knew shit they didn't know. And I realized I could be an A&R guy. And I had a friend of mine, he was in a group called Stetsasonic, Daddy-O, the O-Dad. He was like my OG. And they had a record called Brooklyn that used to get people chain snatched when it came on. I don't think it ever made it out of the tri-state area, but that shit came on. Yeah, someone got beat up. So that shit, someone got their ass kicked when that came on.
It was like throwing a steak.
Yeah,
that was your taste, bro. I think it was your taste. Like your taste. Your taste in music that was developed.
You know what, Bobby? I always had good taste. Whether it was clothes, music, girls, I always had good taste. I always been a tasty cat. Like when I was a kid, I had the Pro-Ked 69ers and the AJ Lesters. You know what I mean? I was like,
No, but there's a difference, Holmes, because some people, everybody thinks they have good taste.
But it's how you wear it.
But you genuinely have good taste.
It's how you wear it.
But everybody thinks that they have good taste because that's their taste.
Right.
But when you have taste that's going to influence the whole world and you're going to make hit records and you're going to go to the top or you're working with the best of the best and you're able to, this is a shit, and you pull them, you sign them, you're that A&R guy. Like, you genuinely do have good fucking taste.
When it comes to art, music, like I somehow, my parents taught me all that shit. My mom taking me to museums when I'm a little kid. She's playing Nina Simone records in the house. She's like, buying me cool shit. Like we go thrifting because there was cooler shit in the thrift store, so I always kind of had I was exposed to cool shit and I think I was confirmed early on I had good taste. Daddy-O got me interviewed with Monica Lynch at Tommy Boy. She played me plug tuning. I lost my mind. She called me a month later and called me to her office and She was like, so that band you really liked? I said, yeah. She goes, she pulls out the tape. She says, that's going to be the first thing you work on for me. And I said, I got the job. She said, you got the job.
That's
so,
dope.
So I got the job.
How old were you?
22.
Damn.
22. And I was 22 and I worked in a restaurant before that. I worked at Rush Productions, but I was like 20 working in a restaurant. And odds are like I'm either going to work in a restaurant or go to jail. It's one or the other. Like I'm like, it could go either way. My friends who Ollie knows, like Jerry Dean, all these crazy kids I knew, they were getting in mad trouble. We were, whatever. We were doing things we shouldn't have been doing, playing with things we shouldn't have been playing with, guns and drugs and all this shit. And Beasties fucking were like, yo, man, we got a little job for you. Come on this little tour. And the rest, kind of.
Which little tour was it?
It was this thing called License to Ill.
Oh, yeah, I heard of that.
This one. It was kind of big. And then
I've seen that one.
But I came back and I got a job, and it was either get a job in the office or go on the next tour. And I didn't go on Tougher Than Leather. I went and stayed and got a job because I wanted a job. I wanted to figure it out. And what's crazy is when I worked in a restaurant, between hustling weed and whatever, and waiting tables, I made more money than I made twice as much as when I started working in the music business. I didn't make no money, but I was like, I'm gonna take this L for a year or two and see what happens.
You had a blast.
I had a blast,
and you have stories to tell.
And I knew there was something that was gonna happen, because like I just knew I had confidence, and I knew shit that motherfuckers didn't know, and I still feel like that. I'm like, you don't know that shit, I know that shit. That's just how it is.
He really does, though. He really does.
Like
it's amazing to me that this dude has both coasts. Like, just he knows everybody in LA, everybody out here, anybody who's doing anything, he knows them.
I love LA. I always loved LA,
and they know. And then he goes to New York, and he's like,
you know why I loved
Ross.
LA? Here, the people who I knew in LA who I fell in with, these two sets of people: Venice dudes, Block, Christian, Aaron, all them dudes, Jesse Martinez. I fell in with them dudes, and I fell in with the Soul Assassins.
Yeah.
So between those guys are all kind of connected anyway. So between falling in with those dudes, and then my big homie Eric Hayes lived in LA forever. Yep. So for me, it was always like, LA is always fresh. I just didn't drive for a long time. But once I got driving down, it was great. You know what I mean? So, I also my OG Steve Olsen is Mr. LA, and Olsen was like, my homie since I was a little kid. So, it's just like I always loved the Bay Area too. The Bay Area is fresh too. Totally different, but super cool. I signed Dell and worked with Hyro. My dad's lived in San Francisco forever. I have sisters who grew up in Oakland. My sister was a cheerleader at Skyline, which is the blackest high school in all of Oakland. She's white as snow. I'm one of them people, I could go anywhere in the country and I fall in with people. I know people
probably
Atlanta,
internationally
Houston,
too. I imagine
London, Paris, all that, Japan. You're like that too, Ollie, right? You go anywhere, you know people. I know people everywhere.
Yeah.
I even go to Seattle.
Did
I
you
went to
say
Seattle
Digital Underground?
I worked with them. I didn't really work with them. I found them, me and this guy, Ed Strickland. But then I left my job because I didn't make any money. And this, lecturer was like, yo, we have real money for you. I was like, what's real money? And it was like, I laugh at it now, but it's $75,000 a year. And I was making 30. And I was like, I've made it to the promised land.
That's right.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, I don't have to have a roommate. Oh shit. I didn't have a roommate anymore. Shit was real.
Yeah. That's the first time I heard Tupac was on that Digital Underground.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. It's funny because he's on Same Song. That's the first thing he's on.
That's it.
And
that was on a movie soundtrack.
Yeah, we were, the video came on, MTV, and Grand Poobah was in my office, and he was like, and he came on, he said, yo, that kid is nice. It was Tupac.
Crazy.
I knew him too.
That was my next
I knew
question.
Tupac, but I didn't know him well. And I just seen him being like, it was before he was Mr. Famous, most famous guy in the world, where he was running around with Biggie and all that. And even before that, he was always a live wire. Like, I didn't really like to be around him because I was always like, shit just could pop off. Like, he was just too, like, the energy was like, I'm one of them dudes, I have a sixth sense. That's why no one ever robbed me. I never really was in the wrong place, the wrong time. Shit never happened to me. And I'm the dude who always left 5 minutes before dude got shot. Like, right after you left, homeboy got shot, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's me. Somehow my spidey sense. since I was a kid. I'm always really good at avoiding shit. And I don't like his energy. His energy was too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't like to be around that. I'm not that dude.
I remember seeing him at a lot of industry parties, and he was just extra for no reason. Which to me,
that's why he's a star.
It meant he was wild insecure, and it was like he's like too frantic, too looking for, like he had wolf eyes, but like I was like, this is the wrong spot.
He had little man complex.
Exactly, and so, and a lot of people are like, what? But the way that reads to me is the loudest dude in the room is always the most insecure dude in the room.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
definitely was in a lot of rooms where he was like, blah, 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 and I was like, I gotta go.
Out there or out here?
Not out here.
I seen him in both. I seen him beat someone up at that. It was like the Super Bowl of rap or whatever it was. They had that big thing that was on like pay-per-view. I seen him beat up some dude in the parking lot, him and his people, and I was like, this shit is mad stupid. I was like, come on, man. This is, what's that about? It's like, it just seems so crazy. Yeah. You know, I used to get that vibe from Everlast before I knew him. I used to not want to be around him. He was too crazy for me. I was like, yo, man, he's just
he did used to bounce off of shit.
I was like he's a little too wild.
Remember when he had his bright green hair before anybody was dyeing their hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I met him. First time I met him, he had super bright green hair. It was at Cartoons. He did a Crazy Life store in LA. And then Esteban, we'd go up to his pad when he had a house in the hills. Right in Hollywood Hills, he had like this big fish tank. That's our
in Laurel Canyon.
Yeah, like is that where it was? And then he had a bunch of African cichlids and I was fresh back then. Like I didn't really know, man.
Mount Olympus.
I was still learning shit. And I'm like, wow, this is fucking Everlast.
That's the house that we made Whitey Ford Sings the Blues in. We made it in his house. That house.
So let me ask you this: I know you've done some amazing projects. You've been involved in some just badass projects, and I do this to people because. It's sometimes it's a hard question to answer. You favorite
what?
Project, not necessarily the most successful, but favorite, like funnest favorite. Like
so, there's a couple.
That was the shit.
I can't say just one. As a producer, definitely Whitey Ford Sings the Blues because both of our careers were fucked up. We had nowhere to go but up. We were best friends. We started making this is crazy.
And it changed so much. Everlast took a completely different direction.
We started making that shit in New York. I had this girlfriend, she was driving me crazy. I came home one night after she drove me crazy and I took a baseball bat to my closet. Eric turned to me and said, yo, D, I think we should go to LA and make the record. I said, we could do that. He said, yeah, dogs. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I remember going like, I'm going to go to LA. And I had my engineer. I said, John, my partner, John Campbell. I said, yo, you want to go to LA and make the record? He's like, fuck yeah. So we packed up all our gear, sent the shit out, 14 crates of records, all our equipment, and went out and made the record, made it in his house. He's going broke. Takes 7-8 months. Way too long, 6 months, whatever it was. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm paying rent in New York. I want to go the fuck home. I want to get out of LA. Like I don't drive. I'm cool. I want to go back to New York. We did the last song in the record, Tired. He ate, Damiano's? You remember Damiano's? That spot it was on Fairfax. It was the worst Italian food I'm from New York. I'm part Italian. I don't eat that shit. Yeah. And so I was like, he was like, oh, I don't feel good, dogs. And I was like, it's because you ate that fucking terrible food. He said, well, I said, man, only an Irishman could call that Italian food. You fuck out of here with that. I said, I'm out, man. I said, my girl's in Vegas. At a trade show. I said, I'm going to the house. I get to walk around in my boxers. I'm out. Right? Because I was like, I get to just do whatever I want. Yeah. I get to lay on the couch naked for the first time. Yeah. So I go back to the pad and my phone, I felt, I'm out. Phone rings at like 2:30, 3 in the morning. Like, I got a thing. I don't pick the phone up in the middle of the night. That means someone's in jail. They need bail money or someone's dead. It's never good. Pick the phone at 3 in the morning. That shit is never good. Unless it's a booty call. But that, even then, I seen the number I had the little flip phone. I seen the number. Fuck does this motherfucker want? I ain't picking the phone up. I'm going back to bed. Then the house phone rang. And it was my man Gams. And he told me, yo, Eric just had a heart attack. I'm at Cedars. You need to get over here. And I went over there. And when I got there, my man was white as a ghost. Gamble. I said, what happened? He said, right before you got here, he had another heart attack. He said, yo, he might die. He's in critical condition. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I'm gonna call. He's like, I don't want to talk to Rita. I don't want to call moms. And I called his moms and told her. Then he came to the hospital. They all came and he lived, got better. We sold fucking 3 million records. You know, from fucking being in a hospital bed, a couple of months later, he's on tour with fucking Lenny Kravitz 6 months later, and we're playing like the Enormo Dome somewhere. So, you know, for me, that was beautiful, man. And also, I learned
the flip, the way he changed his style, the way that the delivery, the album cover, the lyrics, the stories, and
yo, Bob, I'm gonna tell you the crazy shit. We're making a rap record in New York before I smashed the fucking closet.
Yeah,
I was in my bedroom with a lady friend of mine, and I went to the bathroom, and I heard Eric. I had a guitar in the house. Eric was playing. He was playing "What It's Like." I said, "What the fuck is that?" Oh, just a song I wrote. I said, "Let me hear that shit." So I got some lyrics. I said, "Sing that shit." I'm in my boxer shorts, mind you. And he played this shit, and he played it and sang this shit to me. I said, "Yo, we need to record that." He said, "Nah, dogs. Once I do that, I can't go backwards." I said, "Fuck going backwards, bro. We need to do that shit." And then he was like, "I'm not talking about that." So the next day I said, "Yo, you know that song? We got to do it." He's, "Nah." Next day I said it again. He said, "Come on." I said, "Yo, we had another guitar in the studio." I said, "Play that shit for John, my partner." John was like, gave me that look. And John, he almost never said shit like critical about music. Like, "It's a hit song." I said, "I think so too." So then we went to Eric, we went to get some food or something, and I just stayed and I made the beat. I made the Lafayette Afro. I'm not going to say what it was. I told what the beat was. I made the drums, and then he came back. I said, "Play that song." I said, "Yo, check this out." I had the tempo right and everything. And I was like, "Yo, let's just record it." We recorded that shit. Shit was magical. We all knew it. All three of us was like, "That shit's that shit." And then from there, it took that course. We knew that that's what we had to do. We did the song 7 years right after that. We had there's like half rap records on that, but the outstanding songs were the music songs. And we just explored that chamber. And I was surprised at how good he could sing, how good he could play. And we were bouncing music off each other. He had never heard the Bad Brains before that. I turned on the Bad Brains. I remember I bought him Clash, London Calling, told him, "Study this. You know, this is a great record." He wasn't really that hip to it. He hit me to Alice in Chains. I wasn't really fucking with them. First Soundgarden album, and I was late on some of this shit. He was like, "Check this out, check that out." He's the one who turned me on to Radiohead. He turned me on to Pablo Honey. And then the Bends, when it came out, we were on it already. I turned him on to like Massive Attack, I think. We were just playing each other mad music all the time. And we knew we were in the right place with that shit. Sometimes you just know. So I'll put that up at the top because he's one of my best friends, and it was a spiritual experience making that. The other one I have to say is Old Dirty Bastard because I got handed lightning in a bottle. I had to get it to the finish line. And it was very hard to do, but I got it there. And it's the greatest record he ever made and a testament to his legacy and career. And I stay very close with the family. Executive producer on this doc that's coming out in September with Sam Pollard and Jason Pollard, and A&E funded it. So those two are really important records to me. And you know, like I did this thing for BBC today, and I said that, you know, the bar was set so high. The first record I ever made is 3 Feet High and Rising. Like you have nowhere to go but down, really, right? And the only thing I really, you know, look, I was just lucky enough to be in the room when those geniuses made all that shit. But I was in the room, and I had good jokes, and they borrowed a record or two from me, and it was a real honor. So, you know, I walked in with that and Latifah, so I had like greatness was right next to me from the beginning. So, man, you know, that record's very important to me too. Just because I was so green and so young. We all were. Those dudes were 19. I'm 22. Prince Paul is 22, 23 years old. These guys reinvent the wheel. They go and reinvent the wheel right in front of me. And I'm there and I know it's great. I'm in the middle of it and I know this great. And Ali knew me and look, humility I learned as I got older, because if you don't become humble, will be humbled.
Yeah. And
I've been humbled a few times, you know, but Ali was around me. And like, look, I was so in it. I can't explain it other than that. Everything I was doing was just, I was so about the music. I was so, every inch of my body was about it.
You're a passionate man.
Beyond. And, you know, I look at my new band, like super proud.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, man, it was a thing. It was a moment in time for me. And you know, if I'm lucky, I still have those moments. I remain teachable, and I try to always learn new shit. That's the thing. Like, you know, we can sit here and say, fuck all the young kid rap, this rap and that rap and this rap. But yo, man, it's for the kids. They're not, Little Baby's not making music for me. He's making it for his peer group, and power to him. And there's lots of stuff I like. I like Griselda. I love all the shit Alchemist is doing.
Oh,
obviously Kendrick Lamar, Larry June. I could go on and on. There's so much shit like J. Cole, Anderson .Paak. So if you look, you'll find great music. You just got to look. It's still there. Rhapsody. There's so much cool shit out there. You just, it's easy to hate. It's hard to love. I'd rather love. I push myself to love things. Fuck all the hate shit.
So fucking badass dude, eh?
That's real.
Yeah. No, that's good. So one more thing. Tell us about your book.
Okay. Oh yeah. That's half the reason we're here.
That's not even half, bro. I'm just psyched to have you here, like an honor.
I'm psyched to be here, man. I mean, look, when I think of San Diego, I always think of you. I'm like, fucking, Bobby Tribal. He's the mayor of San Diego. Ollie lives there. I mean, that's just it. That's how it always. That's always how it was.
It's funny how
Ollie's over there. Like, I mean, and you were doing this for a long time, and I see your influence on the cartoons and all these people of the world. We all know it. So for me, the book is. Like, I wanted to make sure that my story gets told, that my fingerprint gets put on the culture, right? So, because people get forgotten, and I didn't want to be forgotten. I wanted to write this book, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't just the bells and whistles, the home runs. You got to have the strikeouts in there too, right? And I wanted to talk about my parents. My dad's a writer. My mom was a painter and a teacher. And I wanted to honor them by talking about them and how I grew up and to share my experience. Maybe I inspire some people. Maybe I put some people in touch with their feelings. And I think it's very easy to write the book where you always win. I wanted to be honest and vulnerable, as it's not easy. But like I said, I'd rather push myself. Just like it's really easy to hate, it's hard to love. It's really hard to be vulnerable. It's really easy to be the Superman. And I didn't think that was doing me honor or justice. So I wrote the book the way I wrote it. And, it took a really long time to write it. I started with my dad. We were going to write a book together. He passed away. I put it down. I picked it up. I said, oh man, make me think of my dad too much. Got to put it down again. And, I don't know, man, I got very inspired before the pandemic a little bit. And then the pandemic, my godfather told me I needed to do it. He was sick. He died. First year of pandemic at the end of the year. And I just had to keep going and pushing and getting it done. And, there was obstacles, but I'm really glad I did it. It's very cathartic to tell your story on paper and read your life coming back to you. It's very cathartic, and it put me in touch with the spirit of my parents, my father, my mother, and made me know that through my whole life, the thing that always works out for me, all of my problems are always solved by being creativity. And that creativity usually goes back to music. So as long as I can channel some form of creativity, to me, that's God speaking to me. As long as I can do that, my life will be okay. And that's why I wrote it, man. And when I wrote it, I got in touch with all these things. I'm not a overtly religious person. I'm not like a mystery God dude, but I do believe in something bigger. I believe like I'm not the be end all of everything. Right. And I felt in touch with whatever you call your higher power at times when I was writing the book, because it brought me back to my parents, to the spirit of creativity, and to what I really love, music. And look, the greatest honor in my life is I've been allowed to contribute just a little bit to the greatest Black art form ever created in America, rivaling jazz, one of the greatest youth movements of all time, and one of the highest forms of Black art ever created. I was allowed by people to contribute a little bit to that. And to me, that's the greatest honor of all. So I wanted to just make sure my little bookmarker in the culture was there. So I did it.
Yeah, so tell people where they could get it.
You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, any bookstore that's near you. In San Diego, you can get it at Catapult Books for sure, which is an independent bookstore. I support independent bookstores, but it's in all the big chains too.
The audiobooks, though.
The audiobooks on Audible. You can get it anywhere. It's we're going to go to a second printing in September. Next month, excerpt in Rolling Stone, 6,000 words from the book, end up in Rolling Stone. Man, I've had nothing but critical praise. I optioned it as a TV show to a guy named Cheo Coker, who wrote Luke Cage and Ray Donovan and a bunch of other stuff. Me and him are working on it now. and just a whole bunch of stuff going on with it, and it's great, man. It opened doors to a lot of things and continues to open those doors. So I'm excited.
Son of the city.
Son of the city, and I am a son of the city, just like my man Ali is a son of New York City, the city we're from. And one thing also, I will say that the New York that I write about in that book, that New York is no longer there. So I go to New York. And I miss the New York that I grew up in. That's not there anymore. And New York is still one of the most incredible places in the world. But the New York I grew up in, it's not there anymore. And like where I grew up, on having like in the alphabets, like there was no cafes. There wasn't no coffee spots. There wasn't no hipster dudes with their cute little dog walking down the street. Shit was real. Shit was very real, but real and wonderful. And I love New York for that. Like, look, Ollie's from Brooklyn, where he grew up. Man, that shit is like, it's like Disneyland over there. Bed-Stuy is like Disneyland.
Now it looks like some shit out of Lord of the Rings. Like it looks like the Shire. Like little hobbits should be popping out.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, he's like Fort Greene area, and that's like where I went to high school over there. Yeah, that shit was. My cousin lived there. Yo, my cousin lived right near Ollie on Wyckoff Street. Yeah. Yo, my cousin never came out the house. He's like, they were like, no, you don't go out the house. Like it was like that. So it's a whole new ball game. It's very sweet over there now. Gentrification plus. Like Venice, I'm sure like parts of San Diego, yeah. It's commerce versus community. And community always loses, unfortunately, right? Yeah. So we got to try and hold on to our community any way we can. So Son of the City, it's an ode to a New York that you can't find no more.
Very well written. I'm going to tell you that. Like I'm when I've been listening to the audiobook, but just the story I'm seeing in my head. Like I'm seeing this whole story in my head, and it's not a pretty story. In the beginning, it's not, but it's intriguing. It's interesting. Yeah. And it reminds me of some things that I experienced as a kid too. And a lot of us have. And if you don't know, that's why I was the New York part,
right?
It's New York. And I've always said when I go to New York, sometimes it feels like a different country because just the city, the cobblestone streets, and it feels like you're in Europe. The first couple of times I went, but, we're all kind of intrigued by New York, but I want to thank you for coming, man.
Oh, thank you, man. It's good to be here, Bobby. It's an honor.
No, I was so excited. I told Johnny, the kids, everybody, like, dude, this dude's coming by. Like, gave him a real quick background. I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, no, I'm excited, and I want to thank you. And you always have a home here in San Diego. You already know that.
Thank you.
And yeah, you're doing the signing tonight.
Yeah, at Catapult Books. Hopefully, you guys are going to come.
Yeah, it's Amazon.
Barnes and Nobles, every online book, seller there is, Barnes and Nobles online, in store, here, there, and everywhere. I mean, it's in all the big chains.
Very diverse story. It's a beautiful story. What I've got to hear so far. So, thanks again, brother. I appreciate you, Ali. Always a pleasure. You look good too, dog.
He does, right?
He looks real good. You've been in the sun too, huh?
I'm trying to get out, man.
Yeah.
Just be in the sun and bask in it.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
Man, we're just happy that you're over here, that you're okay, man.
That's right.
That your health is cool, man. You I love you in it. You're like my little brother. I've known you forever, and we're all pulling for you. We're all scared, man. We were, you're one of the good ones. Like, it's like
absolutely.
We lost Sponto recently. Like, like. Sometimes it don't make sense. You're like, why is fucking Mitch McConnell still alive?
Right. I'll tell you a crazy one about Sponto. We'd never met, right?
But he definitely knows who you are. He's a student.
But peep game, this is a crazy one. And so Mike LaPalooza,
my man,
who was friends with Sponto, and I knew Alex through jujitsu. Like a week after I kind of publicly announced it, Mike hits me and he's like, yo, is it cool if I give Sponto your contact? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he's like, well, he had cancer.
He was terminally ill.
I didn't know.
I visited him in the hospital, and he was like, they can't kill me. That's what he told me. It's so crazy.
But it was dope. He reached out and he was like, yo, like any information you need about beating this, because you will, just hit me up. I never met this brother before. And I just, that was real special. Like, gave me a lot of respect for him. Yeah, man.
The best. I knew him when his name was Little Chris. I knew him in Murph. Yeah. Like he's the best dude.
But
big loss.
It said a lot to me about his character. And I was bummed that I hadn't met him, because I was just like, and he checked up on me a couple times. Like, yo, what's up? You good? So
Yeah.
I feel like everyone liked dude. Like he was like, it's like it's one of them people like no one's out there like Ponto he's a fucking good ass dude.
Yeah, I never heard anybody utter a
he's
bad
a thorough
word.
cat.
a lot of respect.
I had the honor of walking around New York like the first time he came out there with Murph.
That's dope.
Like it was super fun. He was still young Chris.
Yeah.
Before he was Spontana. What a great dude though. I mean, one thing I say like, you die today, you die tomorrow, you live forever. Make sure your life is well lived. That dude, his life was well lived. It was a life worth living, a life well lived, and that's all we can really ask for on this earth. Everything else is out of our control.
That's right.
That's real.
Well, thanks again, fellas, and rest in peace, Spanto.
Yeah.
Johnny Be Good still glowing from his wedding.
Haha, congrats.
Congratulations, man.
Congrats.
Just got, dude, they had the most beautiful, badass wedding.
Sick.
Yeah, July 1st. It took a lot of planning. It was beautiful. It worked out.
Amazing.
We saw him last. Him and his wife were at the Cypress show, and there was something about him. I go, and it wasn't just me that saw him. We're like, you guys are still glowing.
That was the first time I've been drunk in a long time.
That's what it was. It was the liquor.
Maybe that's what it was. But we're gonna wrap. This is Bobby Tribal, aka Bobby Ruiz, right here on Lower Left Podcast, 17th and Island, San Diego, California. Dante Ross, Alyasha, Johnny Be Good. We're out.
Peace.